Hey everybody, welcome. It's THS Discourse night, and tonight we are talking about the ultimate, the best, quite possibly the best zombie movie of all time, Dawn of the Dead. So it says we're live, so I'm guessing we're live. So as you join, we'll put the comments up on the board as usual, and I'm gonna introduce my esteemed colleagues. First, we've got Jared Underpants Laterno.
Underpants gnomes.
Underpants Gnomes. And then we've got Nathan Thomas Moner. I didn't have anything special, sorry.
Disappointed.
And we got Seth Thaddeus Miller.
What's up, fuckers?
What are you doing this evening?
Did you call me a fucker?
He calls everybody a fucker. What's up? What's up? What's up? We got some people rolling in. We're going to talk about Dawn of the Dead tonight. Who's excited to talk about Dawn of the Dead? Oh man, I've got a good story to tell everybody once we get into it about my first ever kind of viewing of Dawn of the Dead when I was a wee boy. So, how's everybody doing tonight? It feels like I haven't talked to Jared ever.
Mm-hmm. Working. But yes, it does feel like we don't talk near as much as we used to. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you never chime in the chat. You never text me anymore. It's like, who is this?
I feel like I gotta keep up with the 5,000 messages, and I'm like spending half my time, and then my break's over.
That's all Nate. So anyway, I'm excited. This is definitely one of my favorite zombie movies. Let's start off with kind of a fluff question. Maybe not. And this is the same for you at home watching and commenting and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Is this your favorite zombie movie?
Hands down.
Hands down. Seth?
Yeah.
No, I know it's not Seth.
No.
Seth
He likes Night of Living Dead.
Yeah, last week. Yep.
Right.
And Jared?
Yeah, it's definitely hands down my favorite. I mean, it's literally in my top 5 horrors of all time.
I think it is mine too. I kind of go back and forth. It's like there's a thing that I say that I think this is my favorite, but I don't think it's the best in my opinion. I think Day of the Dead's the best one. I think effects wise, the story. I mean, this gets goofy at times, but it's a lot of fun. Scott Montgomery says it's top 10. Tell us your top 10. Just curious. But yeah, and then of course, I'm a big Fulci guy, so Jared is too. So those kind of rank in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to talk about it? I got a good story. I think it's a good story. First experience is watching Dawn of the Dead. Who wants to go first? Anybody remember?
I remember. It's not exactly interesting.
Yeah, same here. I don't have like an interesting story to tell about it.
It doesn't have to be interesting. Like the effect it had on you.
Well, I remember. I saw it late. I got it at Target. I remember that on VHS, like the extended version cut. And I remember feeling apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
I guess because of the reputation of the gore and all that. I don't know why I had this apprehension about the movie, but I popped it in and it was one of the funnest experiences I've ever had watching a horror movie. Like, I didn't watch it with a group. Like I said, there's no interesting story. It was so immersive and fun, and it's in my top 6. It's like 6 on my all-time horror movie list. I adore the movie. Like I put that on, and I don't know, but I don't have anything interesting to say. Like, this happened. I watched it, loved it. That was it.
Yeah, I do definitely. If I can take over for a second and tell you about my traumatic event with Dawn of the Dead at probably about the age of 3.
Oh, and I think I remember this story.
I've told you before, I'm sure. And my mom was young when I was born. When I was 3, she would have been 24. 25. You know, I was 3 or 4 years old, and my cousins lived in a what do they call that? A split level house. You know, when you walk in, there's steps going up and steps going down, and then the steps leading up to the house, or to the, you know, up. There's a living room right there, and there was nothing blocking except for like a little railing that you could easily see through. Anyway, we all went to the video store, and they rented something for us to be downstairs and watch, and they rented this X-rated movie, as they said. They wouldn't say what it is, but I heard my mom say Dawn of the Dead. First of all, I thought she said Dawn of the Dead. So I didn't, I thought it was, you know, something nasty. So anyway, me and my cousin, you know, my cousin Sean was a year older than me, and my cousin Jeffrey was a year younger than me. We all decided to sneak up and creep up. Meanwhile, my 2-year-old sister's sitting up there, guys, you shouldn't do that. I remember this vividly. And we sneak up and we're watching, you know, because you can peer over the little, you know, living room area and see directly in there. And so we're watching and it's the bodega scene, you know, with Wooly and all that stuff's going on. And then I see the most shocking thing that my little eyes had ever seen. It was this. I saw that, and it's a man eating his wife's flesh. I lost my mind. I lost it. I flipped out. My mom was so upset. She's like, I can't believe, you know, and that scarred me until I was about 16 years old. And I was terrified of that movie. Like, I was big into horror in the 80s. Grew up watching all these horror movies. I told you about me and my brother going to the video store, renting all these movies. I skipped over Dawn of the Dead because I was fucking traumatized by that. Like, just this. I mean, he tore into her fucking neck.
Yeah, that was an alarming moment. Like, even I remember I was a teenager seeing that. Like, holy shit!
Yeah,
because you're just not used to seeing a chunk of somebody's flesh come off like that. Like, you've seen people bite, they pull, you know, they got all that, but to see a baseball-sized piece of flesh come off a person in a movie like at that time where you're not expecting it.
No,
I mean,
you're not expecting it.
And the head explosion, the shotgun blast. I mean,
see, I missed that because I believe that happens after. Because Wooly would eat shit, and that's a line from the movie. But yeah, so you know, when I was 16, I came back and revisited. I was like, this scared me. You know, like this is what it was. This is because at that point I'd seen Dead Alive, and I've seen, you know, all these other, like Evil Dead even had some pretty gruesome stuff, you know, with the hand and everything, and straight up blood shooting out of the wall. But like I saw, then another movie was Jared, if you remember, Terrorvision was another one that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Like, what the fuck?
Terrorvision.
Who do you want to give a kiss to you? Luke's here. Anyway, yeah, so that was my first experience seeing Dawn of the Dead a little bit. And then, you know, I saw it when I was 16, and I immediately went out and bought it on VHS after I saw it. And damn it, if I wish I still wish I had that VHS. Because that's one, Nate, is that one that you have, or is that one of the harder ones to get?
Which one?
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
Anchor Bay?
I had that. That's the one I got signed by Romero that's somewhere upstairs, probably.
Yeah, it's just the poster, except for I think it's more orange. I think
it's like orange and purple.
Yeah, man. I do have a Dawn of the Dead poster in my bathroom upstairs. That's pretty cool. So every time I take a shit up there and looking at the poster. So anyway, that's my story. I want to hear from you guys down below. What do you remember from the first time? How did it affect you? Seth, how did it affect you?
I don't remember. I don't even remember when I saw it. It was somewhere between, somewhere in the 38 years I've been alive. I saw the movie.
You don't say.
And it's, what's that?
I said you don't say.
Yeah. I saw after I saw Night of the Living Dead, I believe. And, I loved Dawn of the Dead. It was great. It was like Romero took the, he just upped the scope and upped the ante. And I thought the makeup effects were cool. They're amusing. They're all blue, and the red is very red. It's very exaggerated. The whole thing with Wooly going ape shit, that still cracks me up.
Wooly's gone ape shit.
But it's a great movie. It has probably my favorite my favorite image out of all the Romero zombie films, and that's when the elevator doors open up and Flyboy is there as a zombie. I love that moment. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. There's a lot of great moments in this movie that are very memorable, and that one for me, when I think Dawn of the Dead, that's something that pops up in my head immediately. Is when Flyboy's in there, and that's a really good scene. Jared, what about you? Anything?
I mean, back when I first saw it, I didn't realize like how much of a compilation it was. Like working with Dario Argento and then bringing in Goblin and to do the soundtrack and stuff. Like back then when I first saw it, I didn't realize it. But now that I'm a huge like Italian horror fan, like that movie was like the perfect mesh of their two styles.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that have seen Dario Argento's cut of the movie, you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. But having Goblin's music in that movie kind of set the tone for the entire film. Like the nice lighthearted when they're taking the trash trucks back, and bringing stuff back, and so lighthearted. And then when they're all ransacking the mall to get all their supplies, it feels so lighthearted, and you're with them all the way until the shit hits the fan, basically, when Savini and his biker gang break in. But it's like when I first watched it, I didn't really like we were all teenagers when we saw it, so I didn't really have any of that type of information, but I wore out my VHS to say the least.
Yeah, whatever the VHS gave me is whatever I had. We didn't have like books. Well, some books were available back then. Excuse me, I don't know about Dawn of the Dead, but my goodness.
Yeah, there was a book for that.
Ooh, but let's talk about the cast.
Roger looks pissed.
Let's talk about these guys. First of all, I want to know, do you guys like in the situation of a zombie apocalypse, do you relate to any of these characters at all? I know Jared does. For sure. You relate to Peter, don't you?
Flyboy.
I think we're to talk about, because like whenever I watch a movie like this, I always and I feel like other people have to even talk to, like they always either relate to somebody or think about what they do in the event of a zombie apocalypse. So that's why I wanted to bring up the cast and see if there was like, especially people at home that are watching, is there anybody that you like saw yourself being the same way, like a Roger? Or
I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more Flyboys in the world than there are anybody else.
Literally,
yeah. That frantic and reactive character for sure.
Yeah, we all think with a rifle and a pistol. So I mean, I was in the army. I think I could identify with Roger pretty well.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're military, so you've got that training, but like most people haven't. Most people haven't been in a situation or been trained to handle those things, and so. But Roger, at the same time, is reckless and kind of. I think we all wish we were like Peter, and I think a lot of. I mean, even Fran handles it. I mean, I like it. Yeah, I think I like that Galen was like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to scream. I don't want to play a helpless female character. I want to, and I think that's really that's part of the social commentary is the three men feel like they got to take care of her and protect her and keep her away from things and not let her. Hey, we'll handle this. And then she's like, oh, I want to learn how to fly that helicopter. I want to learn how to shoot. I want to learn how to. I don't want to depend on you because you might die. And what am I going to do then?
Yeah. There's a lot going on with her character and everything that's going on behind the scenes with her, with being pregnant, and it's a good thing she did learn how to fly.
Oh yeah, paid off.
Yeah, it paid off in the end, even though we'll get to it. But that's I don't think that's the original envisioned ending. But yeah, I mean, I think I say Roger because he gets I don't know what to call it, but he goes a little crazy. and he lets the being able, like, because they're so slow and they're having no problem, he lets it go to his head. And I feel like I'd get a little gun happy, you know. I think
the
like
overconfidence.
yeah, exactly. Like there's
Sure.
that one scene where Flyboy is trying to aim his weapon and he comes over, knocks his weapon out, and shoots the guy for him. I'm like, I do feel like I would probably do some shit like that. So I don't know. Seth,
I do also kind of relate to the zombie that got way too good of a haircut, and I feel like I need a refund.
Well, we'll talk about that.
I feel like I need a refund.
I think I'd be eye patch guys like dummies. They must be destroyed. That would be me. Fucking idiots.
But I know that all of us would have a little bit of fun just going through a mall and just picking through whatever you wanted. Like that is the enticing part of the movie that kind of makes it fun. Like everybody, what would you go for first? You know, that's the kind of thing like that I always thought when I saw the movie, like what would you go for first? And mine wouldn't have been guns. I might have went for candy. I don't know.
I mean, that, of course, the whole social commentary of the movie is it's all consumerism and how, like, and that means part of the fun of the movie is like it's like a wish fulfillment movie. I think that was why it was so much fun. It was like, wow, I would love to be in a mall. Like that would be cool. Like because we're so familiar with it. And it's like one of those. I mean, you know, when we go out shopping and buy things we like, you get that rush of this is cool. And so to have that to yourself. And what's really interesting about the movie is, you know, they realize that. They even comment on it in the movie where they're like, oh, they want to be here because they want the place. They're after the place, and this was an important place to them, and they recognize. Yeah, and they kind of mock at them like, oh, these mindless sheep, they're here to get this. But the thing is, they all behave the same way, other than Galen, really. Once they get kind of consumed with, you know, what they have there, and to the point where Flyboy at the end doesn't want to give it up and just basically destroys himself over it and kills and ruins everything because he's not willing to let his material things go, which is really what it is. And so like these material things, and if you look at it, like that's what we want. Like that's what we feel is normalcy, is because like even like we can look at what's happening today with the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to open again, and everybody wants to go out shopping and go to the mall and go get food and go. They want to go get things, and a lot of the people who've been like coping by going on Amazon and ordering stuff and getting mail and acquiring things to cope with, to kind of mask over, you know, the end of the world that's happening outside, to try to kind of momentarily forget. Oh yeah, people are dying and awful things are happening outside, and I'm here holed up in my house getting Amazon packages and getting shit that I don't really need, but it's something to make me feel happy. It's the same thing going on in Dawn of the Dead, where this is a place we can get all this stuff. We have everything we need, and then
it's exactly what's going on in Dawn of the Dead, really. Mm-hmm. But at the time. And we talked about it last week. I mean, George Romero's movies are no matter when they were, fucking timeless. You know, I mean, this dude was way ahead of his time. Dawn of the Dead, like it's like he could look into the future. I mean, I'm sure it was going on back then because back in the late '70s, they were going through a lot of like the oil crisis, I guess. You know, and
the gas crisis back in the late '70s.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and Romero was good about that.
As long as I have my vaccination, as long as I have my job, as long as, because even like the scene with the cigarettes. Hey, anybody got cigarettes? No. You know, like they all lied. So it's all about I've got it. I'm taken care of. Fuck everybody else. You know, I don't want anybody else coming in this huge mall. You know, just four of us is all we can. Which is that's one of the things that I will say, like, do you think it's a little odd that they would invite Peter and not that they did, but Roger would just invite the stranger along. It's always kind of bothered me.
Why? Because I always saw it because first of all, they were kind of maybe not the same unit, but they were like brothers in blue, and also he saved his ass.
Yeah, I mean, he saved him, and someone who could take care of himself. That's the kind of guy you want on your side.
Right.
But at the same time, like, he just shot that guy. Like, do I fully trust this dude? Like, what if I go a little off the rails? Is he going to shoot me or kill Steven or I don't know. It just felt a little convenient to me. The only one trouble area I have with the movie is, like, I just don't know. In 1978, would this guy invite a black man, this giant man who just murdered one of his teammates, along when they're kind of keeping it hush hush in the first place? They're not letting everybody know. Like, he doesn't have any other close buddies on the force.
Well, the one that he was talking to died.
Well,
immediately.
Yeah.
The guy that got shot in the head right at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like all hell was breaking loose at that point. I mean, when the army guy comes through the wall and, in the basement of the place, I mean, at what point does he say, I got a thing, I got a helicopter? Does he say it in the building, or is it after?
It's after they've shot the guy and they're out having a smoke. He goes, "You're not the only one here, mister," or whatever. And I think they're just talking about what they're going to do or they're going to get out. And it's when he brings up, "Hey, I got a buddy who's got a way out," or something.
Maybe he's just feeling generous.
Yeah. He won't share cigarettes. But
Yeah.
his helicopter ride. But let's just talk about that beginning, because that is one of the best openings of a horror film, because it's just complete chaos. And, like, that TV station, I just love it. I love that. I love the theatrical cut where you got that musical score where it pans out from that red carpeted wall, and like that, the title pops up, and just shit going crazy, and people arguing, and it's
the anarchy. Again, exactly.
And it echoes what we're seeing now. People debating what it is, what we should do. It's just dangerous. No, it's not. All this bickering and different points of view and perspectives on how to react to it, what it is. And it's that chaos that would happen, and it's like everything you see is very believable. Like, George really did a good job. I mean, he did it. He kind of got there a little earlier with the Crazies and Night of the Living Dead. Kind of touched on it a little bit there, but I mean, we see some of that in those movies. But there's just something about the editing and all the chaos and all the activity going on in that TV station that is just makes a great opening.
Yeah, I mean, even like there's just certain things that are said, like whenever Flyboy and Fran are talking about meeting on the roof and all this stuff, and the I don't know what the guy was doing, but he's like, "Go ahead, our responsibility is finished." It's like, ooh, like I watch every time I hear that line, I'm like, oh God.
Kind of like that Titanic thing where, like, the ship's going down. Do we still do our job? Or do we go self-preservation?
You saw people flipping out in the background. You got the people who are on stage or whatever trying to do their job. Get that asshole off the air, And then George and his wife, Chris, are right there. They're producers or whatever. And I'm not going to clear my throat, guys. Give me a second. No. Sorry, I had a Subway sandwich, and it had a little bit more mayonnaise than I needed. So anyway,
and you got that soundtrack that's like a heartbeat, that bump, 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 bump. So it just adds to the tension and the rising tension in the whole scene.
Yeah, that opening, and then you go from there to the George Romero in one of his commentaries called it a bodega. So
like the ghetto kind of
and you go from there to that. So you're getting kind of like an idea of what's going on. Just everywhere but on the street. And this is just a raid on Martinez's crew or something like that. And you got Wooly the racist in there, and like you said, you got Roger trying to tell a kid what to do or whatever, and he dies like immediately. And then you get to see what the hell's all going on inside and in the basement, and it's fucking the opening is complete chaos from the TV station to the bodega until they get into the helicopter.
Yeah, you got like the class system thing going on there, and like the government coming in.
Shit, they got better than I got.
Oh shit, a film fella.
Oh no.
Chaos. I need a director. My cameraman.
What do you have it held on? Seth, what do you got? You got anything you want to say? You look excited.
Yeah, I guess just kind of going back to what Nate was asking about Roger inviting Peter. I think it was just a matter of they had a sort of a brief little kinship during that scene. Everyone else was kind of losing their cool. Roger was really seeing that shit was really getting bad, and I think it was more of a strategy of, I mean, who am I going with? Oh, I'm going with Flyboy and Fran, and who's going to have my back out of those two? You know, and, you know, yeah, sure, he just met Peter, but I think that was a good strategy on his part. Was to invite him along. I know it you know, it is kind of weird, you know, you just meet someone, you're like, hey, come aboard the copter and go to our secret place or whatever. I think it was just more of a, you know, in the moment situation where he saw Peter's, you know, very capable, and he's definitely someone who would have his back, and I think that's why he invited him.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I totally do. I never thought about it, honestly. I never thought about that. Nate, we went back to what you were talking about why he invited Peter along. I never even thought about it. I just went with the flow of the movie, I guess. I never thought about why he would take him. Or it is
a good strategy.
I mean, the guy can take care of himself. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, yeah, like Seth, I think he's like, he knows this guy can handle himself. This is a big guy, and he had the calmness and the coolness and the collective head to handle that situation when everybody else was like didn't know how to deal with it. Like that was really the only answer. This guy was murdering innocent people. This guy was out of control, and he's a beast of a man. What are they going to do? I mean, he was trying to sensibly stop him, but at this point, like this guy's crossing the line between what they're there to do versus just going on a killing spree because he's a racist asshole and seeing an opportunity to murder people of color. So I think, yeah, and taking the risk to do that. I mean, what did Peter expect? I mean, some of those cops could have turned on him. His crew could. I mean, he was maybe just a good read of people, and he did read right
up to that point too. He had his mask on. Go ahead, Seth.
I think too that it would have been. I mean, if you really think about, you know, if you put yourself in, I guess Roger's situation, it was probably even a relief of the burden he would have to face of, oh, well, I'm, you know, the only guy who can handle a gun out of this couple, you know, and I have to protect them, you know what I mean? And bringing along another cop, a capable cop, he now shares that, and I think that also kind of loosened him up a little bit too, where he did become a little bit more reckless because having Peter there with him kind of definitely amplified his confidence in the situation.
Yeah. And like you said very earlier, Ray, his buddy got shot in the beginning. Maybe that was the guy who was supposed to go with him in the first place. So now it's like, well, I don't have my buddy. I need somebody to back my ass up because I need a two-man team kind of situation.
Well, I don't think that they originally had a fourth person going with them because there was the question of if the helicopter can hold the additional weight or whatever.
course, that could be because he's so big.
Yeah,
He's such a
yeah,
big
he's
guy.
a big dude.
True.
You know, you got this little scrawny guy. Now you got this 6'5",
Yeah.
260, 240
Yeah, true.
linebacker.
It'd be the same thing if me, Jared, and Seth were going to go up in a helicopter. Should we take Nate along? Because he's too big.
You have Lawrence Taylor tagging along with you. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but it worked out in the end. I mean, he took charge and kind of like. I mean, when they got to the mall. Well, actually, I mean that part after. I'm skipping ahead. When they fly over, you see all the stuff on the ground, and that whole scene inside the fueling station. Like Flyboy was and Frammer, they were both suspect, right? You felt that about them with Peter, right? They didn't take to him right away.
No, I mean they didn't trust him.
I don't think Flyboy tried to kill him, but he also didn't know what he was doing.
I don't think he was trying to hurt Peter. I love that part. Like, you never point a gun, Mister. Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was just like a bad timing moment.
Yeah. Because I remember that whole helicopter head blade zombie thing was just so cool. That was like when I saw that the first time. Like, oh, that was fucking cool. That was a cool kid.
That was cool. I mean, there's a lot of great gags in this movie too.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Poltergeist.
Yeah, must have. Well, two more will pass by in a second.
It's going to turn in that movie host. Honestly.
Yeah. So
what's behind you, Seth?
What about the Peter killing the kids zombies? I know that was kind of controversial at the time.
Yeah, and he didn't even know about that. They didn't know it was like Savini's niece and nephew, and he didn't know they were going to be kids. And
yeah,
they're actually also the only zombies that have ever run in a Romero movie.
They're fresh. They're ready to go. Yeah, I think it was what's his name? Okay, I lost his name. The guy who plays Peter.
Ken Foree.
I think he did talk about because not recently, but the DVD version I have of Dawn of the Dead. It's the black case. It's got 3 different versions on it.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
Yeah, I've seen all 3 versions with the commentary, and there's a cast commentary, and I do believe he talked about he didn't know that was happening. He wasn't comfortable with that happening, and which I don't blame him. I mean, you're shooting kids, but it's part of the script. By the way, have you guys seen all 3 versions of the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No.
It's been a long time since I've seen Argento's cut, but I've seen the extended. That's the one I prefer.
The extended one's way too long. I watched that one on Friday. I'm like, this is still going.
I haven't seen Argento cut since I bought that one, and I don't remember liking it much. I think I turned to the theatrical version. That's when I watched. That's the one that Romero prefers, because people say the extended cut, they mistakenly call it the director's cut, but it's not the director's cut. It's not Romero. Yeah. Romero's preferred cut is the theatrical version.
Well, the theatrical's got a lot of so streamlined a little bit. The extended cut was so like, and it felt like things were out of place. I don't think they were, but it felt like they were out of place for some reason.
Music's different, right?
Huh?
It's like music different. Like they took out the Goblin music, didn't they?
Slightly.
Or they have some of the Goblin music.
Some of the Goblins in there, but most of the score is different because
Argento. I think they're just extended scenes, really.
Yeah,
scenes go longer.
Well, they're not just extended. Some of them are out of, like the whole end of the movie is like it's cut differently. You know, when the bikers come into the mall. But I prefer the Argento cut because it's got a darker, more ominous.
They cut all the humor out.
All the humor's gone. Yeah,
all Goblin music.
It's Italianized, basically. Yeah. I mean, if you look at some of the endings of some of the Italian zombie movies, they're very fucking bleak, and that's what he did to Dawn of the Dead or Zombie.
Well, I think Romero decided that this movie he wanted to be like a comic book, so he gave it this comic book vibe to it. You know, so he kind of embraced I like that they were just like, hey, we've made our bleak horror scary movie with night, so let's just have fun with this to the point where like, hey, how do we kill the zombies? And somebody's like, how about we kill them with pies? They're like, yeah, let's do that. We got to do that. And so they have a pie fight in the movie. I mean, it's like, it's you're watching like, really? There's a pie fight at the same time. You're like, this is the fucking greatest thing ever. Like, who would have thought to do a pie fight? Which the movie has humor, but it's still very serious. But I think it just shows the ridiculousness of this biker gang. They are completely overconfident and completely just having a blast and not taking it serious, and that just reflects their behavior and their attitude towards everything, and it gets them fucking killed because
there's one guy who does the fucking blood pressure thing, like multiple times. Like even when the zombies are coming, like actually taking over, he still gets on that fucking machine. It's like, come on, dude, what are you doing?
Overconfidence of having the numbers in the army and.
If I'm gonna go getting my blood pressure taken. Come on. And I think that guy was also in Day of the Dead too, wasn't he? I think he played what's his name's second in command.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Romero definitely recasts.
Yeah.
Steele's second in command. The guy was always laughing all the time. But anyway, sorry. I wanted to make sure to bring that up because that every time I see that scene, I'm like, what is that guy even thinking? His fucking blood pressure taken as the zombies are closing in on him. Come on. Yeah, it was kind of a ridiculous thing, but I do like it quite a bit. But okay, sorry, I'm sharing. I forgot to share it on my Facebook page. Anyway, so what? Where would you go to a mall?
It seemed like
not now
really,
because malls are all closing down. But
it was definitely an ideal like place to go because you have everything
that one
there.
had a fucking grocery store in it.
Yeah, I mean you have everything you'd need for a long while. And
limited entrances and exits.
Yeah. I mean, and I liked that they were smart enough to create their own place. He says, "I want a wall here. I don't want anyone to know that there's anything here," which was another bright thing. I mean, I liked that all the preparation. I like the that's what I like. I like the remake, and I know we're not gonna really mess with the remake, but. I like how much time is spent with this movie. Like I don't know how long we're with them, but it feels like a while. And I like that it lets me feel my favorite part of the whole movie. My absolute favorite part of the film is the scene where Peter's playing handball or tennis up on the roof, and the balls fall off, and you see that the zombies are still there.
It's because reminding you they're still out there.
Yeah, because they're trying to return to a normal life. They've created this house. They're doing all these activities. They're going out to dinner. They're going shopping. They're doing all this stuff. And to the point where they're trying to pretend again that there's no pandemic outside. There's no bad things outside. We're going to be normal. We want normal. And so it's trying to create this normalcy in a world that isn't normal anymore. That's changed. And like I said, that moment is like, oh, shit. Because for a while, I don't know, about 10 minutes of the movie, we don't see zombies, I think. We just see them trying to make a normal life and move on with life and pretend like nothing's happening. And we can see that there's this melancholiness or this depression that's there in some ways. Like now they have it. It's not making them happier, which is, again, a comment on material things and wealth and the things that we think we need to be happy in life is not really going to bring us happiness. So, it's so that moment where that ball goes over and we remind you that it's still fucking there. They're still out there. That's my favorite part of the movie. But I just like the whole, we're going to systematically do this. We're going to block off the doors, clean out the dead, bury them, get them rid of them, and like create our own little paradise here. I don't know. To me, that's where the strength of the original is that it takes place on such we're with these four people for such long time. So the part where when Roger dies, it's heartbreaking. And when Flyboy dies, it's heartbreaking. Like it's like we care about them by then because we've gone through this. We've kind of lived with them in this place for it feels like weeks
they're
or
the only
months.
characters you see from when they leave that bodega on. Basically, they're the only characters who have a voice, and you do get to know each one of them. You know what's going on with Fran and the pregnancy, and she even because at some point starts showing, that she's pregnant. So they're there for a while, so you get to know each and every one of them. They go through building the place, shopping, all that stuff. And
Romero
character development.
Romero's so good at doing just an image to tell you so much that's going on. Like one of the best images in the movie is that kind of melancholy moment where he and Fran are laying in bed together, and she's like, there's just no connection, and he's just kind of looking like, I mean, he looks like they're not really in love anymore. It's kind of how that I read that scene. Like it's not.
He does act kind of like a dick. He's like, "What do you want to do about it?"
Yeah.
What do you want to me? What do you mean? What I want to do about it? Like he does come off as a dick.
Well, there's a lot of dickish moments too, like the whole TV thing. Like he's trying to watch the TV, it's just fuzz, and nobody's done anything in weeks, and they're just arguing about it. Yeah, they start picking at each other too. There's a lot of that in this movie.
And I think his insecurities about his lack of being as alpha male as these other two guys were, and I'm sure she makes him feel inadequate or not up to snuff next to Peter. There's probably some jealousy there, some tension. I mean, that's what I think is so strong about this movie. Is a lot of times we don't see that length of time in a zombie movie. That was what was cool about the Walking Dead, was that Kirkman was able to say, what happens when it keeps going on when we stay with these people, and that's why the Walking Dead was more interesting. I mean, some people don't.
What happens when nothing is happening?
Yeah, how do we live? How do we exist like beyond that 2-hour runtime? But this movie, even though it's actually like just barely over 2 hours long, it feels longer, but not in a bad way. It just feels like we're just living through this with them, and it just feels longer than it actually is when we're watching it.
It does. It does. It's bad there because George is very good at passing time. In his movie, and especially this one, because like I said, you can tell they've been there for a while by the time the biker gang gets there. Not just because of Fran and her little belly bump or whatever, but they had been there for a while. And at one point, they take money. That was one of the weird, oddest things. The end of the world's ending. May as well. You never know. I always thought that was odd, but that's one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. Is first of all locking the place down. And then just getting everything that they need. The screwdriver to the ear also is one of my favorite parts. But most of my favorite stuff has to do with the gore and the effects, because even though it looked like a cartoon or a comic book, it like seeing some of these effects you never saw any. Like seriously, like that scene that I talked about earlier, the neck rip and eventually the arm. It's just like that was insane. And I like that Romero, when he came to Savini, he said, "Hey, you want to come up with ways to kill people?" And that's kind of the way they got into it. And he just came up with some crazy stuff, And this is before Friday the 13th, and of course his masterpiece, Day of the Dead. Savini's masterpiece, I should say.
Plus, they made it for 4 months, but they had to take off like a month through Christmas season.
Yeah.
Because of the decorations, how much time that would take. So in that time, George edited the film, what he had shot. And in doing that, usually every film you have pickups where you shoot your film, you get it cut together, and you realize, oh, I need more. This isn't working. The pacing's off.
I got to CGI that mustache out. Yeah.
This is a problem. This doesn't make sense, or this can be better. This isn't playing well. So he had that opportunity to come back after the Christmas break and say, all right, let's play. Let's come up with new stuff. I need this. I need that. And so it feels, and I think they said that in the Document of the Dead documentary, that they came back and they were, and basically George is such a a collaborative guy where he's like, he'll take ideas from, the extras or whatever. Like somebody comes over and said, hey, what about this? And he's willing to listen and take those, because it's just true. I always say, like, if you know what you want and you know what your tone is and you have control of your film, which George obviously does, he has his vision, he knows what he wants, it opens you so much up to those changes. You're far more willing to change because you have a control over it, and okay, what's your suggestion? Yeah, that's not going to work for my movie. It's a cool suggestion. It ain't going to work for what we're doing. But that is actually a really cool idea, and I like that. Let's try that. And so, like they said, most of that shit came up on the spot, like the arm thing that you talked about in the tip heart monitor was just made up on the spot, and Tom made it that day or something, like that whole gag on the spot. And because of that, you watch that documentary. They said everybody just has so much fun on those sets because they're having such fun, and they all feel like they're contributing rather than just being there for 4 months slaving for George Romero. That he gets you involved in the film and gives you that art, that opportunity to be artistic and creative yourself.
Yeah, every documentary or interview I've seen, they say he's a good. It was a good one to work with, and I can see why. I've heard many stories. I'm like blanking for some reason. I know there's some stories around Halloween when they were shooting the movie, but I can't. God, I'm blanking on. I watched one of them with the commentary this weekend, and now I'm blanking on everything they talked about in the comments because I watched 3 versions of Dawn of the Dead over the last few days. I do think the Argento version is my favorite. But anyway, I've said that twice now.
And that is totally fine.
Is it?
I don't want to keep talking because I don't want to keep guys, but another thing that popped in my head, I love the moment where she's putting on the makeup and Romero's wife is doing the voiceover of in the mall, where it's like, if you come here, you'll get a free bag of candy. And like,
that's his wife.
I think it's his wife doing that voice. If I remember
Sounds
right.
like a 95-year-old woman.
Hey, can I get a free bag of candy?
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about that, like. That's the kind of shit you would hear in the store. Or
right. Was that the first time that happened, though? Because I don't remember hearing it ever again. I remember the first time I watched it the other day, I was doing something on my computer, laying on the floor, and that happened. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Because it's awful sounding.
Yeah, it's something. I guess because it's I don't think there's any music. It's just that. And there's this, it's that part where they're just depressed in many ways and they're not happy and they're kind of split up. I don't think they're with each other in that scene at all. I think she's by herself and everybody's, and it's like, there's this emptiness, like it's lonely, like the loneliness is starting to creep in. That's another part that part in the bed shot where even though they're laying next to each other, they're not together. There's an emptiness or a loneliness that the world is lonely now because it's people are gone.
Were they together though? Like were they a thing? Like I know that it was likely his baby or whatever, but were they actually together? Or like I'm always confused about Flyboy and her relationship because it didn't ever seem like they were like, they're definitely not husband and wife, but boyfriend.
I don't think they were married. No.
Yeah, to me though, it never felt like they. What's that?
They weren't married, and he even actually like alluded to, "What are you going to do about it?"
Yeah,
right. But my question is, were they even together, or did they have like a one-night stand? I always wondered that myself. Like, what is their relationship?
Probably flirted around the station and got together and had sex one night. She got knocked up, and he's kind of, I guess I gotta propose to you. But then, like, the end of the world came, and it's like, well,
I don't think she really even seemed to like him very much.
No.
Anyway, even beforehand,
there was tension between them the whole time, really.
Yeah. You can tell there's a lot of tension, and like you said before, it probably didn't help having those other two guys there.
Yeah,
Especially they were.
but she was. He had to have been threatened by that.
Well, yeah, especially when Roger comes over and knocks the gun while he's aiming it at him.
Embarrassing. Yeah,
he's not like a manly man at all, if you will. Like even there's a scene like it in that same area of the movie where he goes to hit a zombie with a hammer, and the way he does it is so awkward. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weirdest
He, like,
swing I've ever seen.
Swings and goes under its arm, and like,
Yeah,
what the fuck was he doing?
Was that? Did he mean to do that, or was that like, And but the best part is like he's this kind of goofy, silly. Like he looks like he's one of those guys who, his parents always had money, and that's what he always seemed like to me. And then, like by the end of the movie, he's got the best zombie walk ever.
Yeah, I mean, probably he's a pilot. He, like I said, he's clean cut. He's the wasp of the group. Like, Scott Reiniger's character is probably blue collar, and Peter's definitely blue collar. Fran's probably, I mean, she may be a PA. I don't know what exactly her job was at the station, but she's definitely a worker bee type, I think. Or maybe she was kind of, I mean, she does seem to be a little more in charge. So she may have had she could have been a producer. I don't know what her,
I mean, the producer.
The fact that the guys like our responsibility, like, wow, if she wasn't important, he probably wouldn't. I mean, she could have been an assistant to the director, assistant producer, assistant to the talent. Who knows what her job was? I mean, she had maybe she's a script supervisor or something, or handles the news or whatever. She was probably also because the fact that she isn't trying to be a princess and be taken care of. That she's someone who probably takes care of herself a lot of the time before this.
Very independent, a woman of the 70s.
Yeah,
very much so. She's a great character. All of them really are. I mean, even when Flyboy with his he's my least favorite Flyboy, even though my shirt has him on it, but you can't see his hair, Flyboy. But like, what?
Beep.
No, are they going to say something?
No.
Do you think he does anything that makes him a bad guy, or is it just that he's just not up to it? He's not a fighter. He's not a capable, like in the apocalypse. He's just a guy who's going to follow. He wants to be. I think he wants to be.
Well, his importance is that he knows how to fly the helicopter.
Yeah, like he's got his role.
Yeah. Like, I wonder how he felt, like if it was emasculating for Fran to say that she wanted to learn how to fly the helicopter. It was like, well, that takes my job away. I'm not useful anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he did anything bad. He just was very inexperienced. Like that scene when he goes to get the plans for the mall, and he's by himself and he damn near gets killed. Mm-hmm. Like he's so it's like. Sometimes I want to be like, come on, dude. Like every time he does something, like, come on, man. Even when he gets shot in the arm at the end, it's like, come on, dude. That could have been avoided. Like he's hiding. He's on the lower floor hiding from the bikers. I'm surprised I didn't see his ass in the first place. I mean, he wasn't that well hidden, and it's like most of the things that happen with Flyboy, I'm like, come on, dude. Every time, like the things he does is like, I don't know. But I don't think he's not I don't think, I mean, other than the way he starts acting towards Fran, I don't think there's anything that says that he's not a good dude. He maybe just doesn't know how to act. Like Peter and Roger were kind of prepared for this, where he and Fran, a self-sufficient type woman. That's probably his problem. He's probably getting his balls cut off by everybody, essentially.
Yeah.
By the way, Alex Roth said Fran was assistant to the regional manager. Yeah.
Might happen.
Assistant regional manager.
Yeah.
Dwight.
I don't know. He's my least favorite of the four characters. Probably Peter's my favorite, obviously. I mean, he's probably everybody's favorite.
He's the Cooper of the movie. He's the one that you kind of like. said last week, Cooper really wasn't a bad person. He's presented as the villain of Night of the Living Dead because of
Right.
You've got to have those roles in these films for these dramas, because I mean, all drama is conflict. You got to have conflict. You got to have this conflicting. You have to have those characters who just aren't jiving with one another. So while Roger and Peter are both from the same thing, you add that element that Roger gets a little reckless to create that conflict between the two, where he has to stop him and say, "Look, you're not just playing with your life; you're playing with mine." We got this by the ass, man. So you got to introduce those conflicts. So the tension between Fran and Flyboy was necessary to keep it interesting, to keep the behavior interesting through the whole movie. Because they really don't have much of a problem with Peter. Peter's kind of chill and mellow, and he takes charge, but he really doesn't do anything in the movie that's questionable or asshole-ish or dickish.
No, because he pulls his weight from the beginning.
Yeah.
And
he's definitely the most likable guy in the movie.
Yeah, he's he's the proactive one. He's got the plan. I mean, he's the one you follow. Like he's I always thought of him as the leader of the group.
Yeah, he's a rational thinker. He's a level-headed.
Yeah. I mean, he could have easily gone off the deep end just like Roger did, because Roger, we got this by the ass. It's like, dude, calm the fuck down, and you still got to be aware of your surroundings. And he wasn't. He got it probably would have been worse for him if Peter wasn't there. He might have died just then.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Peter's the best. So I don't think there's.
He's got the best line in all Romero movies. When there's no room left in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Great tagline, great line.
My shirt has that saying on the back.
What's that?
I said my shirt that I have has that saying on the back.
I think that's on all the shirts. Mine says that too.
Yeah, mine as well.
Yes.
This one doesn't. This just says Dawn of the Dead. So, surprisingly, I found my Night of the Living Dead shirt after I got shit from one of our followers last week. Like, why are you wearing that shirt? I'm like, oh, I don't have a Night of the Living Dead shirt. Well, I found it hanging up upstairs, so that's cool. But the only zombie film I like is 28 Weeks Later. 28 Weeks Later.
Not 28 days? What?
Yeah.
28 Weeks is awesome. It's in my top 10.
Yeah, but this is the only zombie film he likes.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Out of all of the zombie movies,
I like 28 Weeks. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's not a bad movie. It's not, but I think 28 Days Later is way better.
I got just a thing for Imogen Poots.
Have you not? Yeah, maybe. Have you not seen Cooties? Have you guys seen Cooties?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Rainn Wilson's fucking hilarious on that.
Yeah, he's really
assistant
good.
to the regional managers and
Yeah, exactly. That's a fun movie. Somebody I know just watched that the other day. I'm like, yeah, man, that movie's great. And then Shockwaves is another good one. Come on, what about Shockwaves?
Yes.
I like the
Nazi zombies.
Yep.
I like all the people on the TV show in the movie. Like the guy in the beginning, the people they kill get up and kill. The whole bickering, and then of course the guy with the eye patch. Just
do you think?
Francis Ford Coppola of the Dead movies.
Do you think that okay, so Dawn of the Dead, I don't know exactly if it falls in line with Night of the Living Dead, but do you think that is the TV station they were watching in Night of the Living Dead? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, because when they were watching at night, there was no broadcast, was there?
Well, there was something on the TV, wasn't there?
Well, yeah, they had the news guy at first.
Yeah.
Good night and good luck guy. They had that. But,
I guess it's not the same station. I don't know. For some reason, I always thought maybe that was the same station that was playing that guy's stuff on TV. Maybe that's just in my head. They're watching the same station. So Fran, Flyboy, and everybody else leaves, and that guy's left by himself. Good night and good luck, because everybody left. Our job is finished. So I don't know.
That kind of reminded me of Bronson Pinko.
Bronson Pinchot. Awkward.
I'll make it with a kiss, little lemon twist. You should try it.
So, what are you guys' favorite scenes? I mean, I know Nate talked about a couple things. Like, what are your favorite scenes in the movie? Jared? Seth?
Besides the helicopter chop top, I mean, there's a lot of fun scenes in it. Like looking back when Savini's biker gang breaks in and all the different things. We already discussed a couple of things that happened when that happened, but when they break into the mall and their whole world starts to fall apart, that's like when the movie turns. It doesn't become it's not a fun movie anymore.
Or it's more fun.
For the biker guys.
Yeah.
We don't like people who don't share. You fucked up real bad.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't become a fun movie anymore for the main characters. And Savini walking in with a fucking sword. Like, I love that scene.
Well, then you got that great moment where he puts his foot on the zombie's head and with a cleaver.
Machete zombie.
Yeah, or is it machete? Yeah, that's a machete. He puts the machete. I mean, it's just a reverse shot or whatever, but that's such a great moment. The look on the face of the zombie. I mean, they made posters with that. It's such a great moment. And then he shoot him with seltzer water too at some point.
Yeah, they're going with seltzer water. And
yes,
I like
the
playful. Yeah, the playful music. It's just so.
It's like a circus.
It's so interesting. I mean, like, I can't think of many other movies that would do that, where you would switch the music. Like, the only thing I could think of is like the Crazy 88 scene in Kill Bill, where it goes from like this, like kick-ass music to then all of a sudden, nobody, it's 50. No. It's like, what? They throws that shit in there, and like, that shouldn't work, but it does. And like, so in this movie, the blending of these moments where you've got this, like, I mean, it's a mall, so you got this music playing.
Right.
This mall music playing, which I mean, it's such a great little. I don't know. I just fucking love the movie because
I actually have that as my
it's
alarm clock in the morning.
This movie gives you everything. It gives you everything. It has laughs, it has scares, gore, drama, great characters, great character development. It's not surprising that this is kind of George Romero's, kind of his opus in many people's eyes. I mean, Night of the Living Dead is up there, and I don't argue with anybody who because they're so different. They're so polar opposites of each other.
Yeah, but if I put up a post on the Horror Syndicate and I put Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead up, which is your favorite of the three? Dawn of the Dead wins out every time.
Well, Dawn is. I mean, Savini even said that. He goes, when people say zombie movie, they think of this movie. Dawn of the Dead is the essential zombie film. It's what spawned it, because you really look at it, like, after Dawn of the Dead, that's when all the Italian zombie shit happened in the big.
It's true.
The copycat stuff, because nobody was making zombie movies between Night of the Living Dead and Dawn.
Well, there are a couple. I mentioned
there's a couple. There are
Shockwaves. Shockwaves was before Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Dead things.
But it was like Dawn of the Dead inspired so much after it, and like you said, to this day, that's the one that people usually bring up when they talk about the best zombie movie ever made. It's just, to me, it has to be between Night and Dawn. But then there's people who just love Day of the Dead as well.
I think Day of the Dead's the best.
Day of the Dead's. I like Day of the Dead, but the thing about Day of the Dead, I don't like the characters as much as I like the first two movies.
But I think they're offset by roads. Like the main characters, you got the helicopter guy and his buddy, and the drunk. You got what's their name? Who's the daughter of the the news guy from the first Night of the Living Dead. They're
Chili
okay,
Willy.
but then you got Dr. Frankenstein and fucking Rhodes, and then you got Bub. It's
you
like
got some
I think
fun
it's a
ones,
great balance.
but I don't like any of them as much as I like Peter or Ben or those characters in Dawn or Night of the Living Dead.
It's not just that the movies are different in tone. Like this is it. You feel like
Day is dark as shit.
Day of the Dead. This is the last humans on Earth. Is basically what it feels like, And Dawn of the Dead, you're still dealing with what's going on. This is it. They lost contact with everybody in Day of the Dead. It's it's bleak.
I think but the Dawn connects because of how fun it is.
Yeah.
Overall, that's a movie you could put on with a group of people, and you're gonna have fun with it. It's
absolutely.
You can't really have fun putting on Day of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead because they're just so they're contained. Because Dawn is in a mall, but it feels bigger because it's a bigger place. It's a mall. It's a big thing, but there's a claustrophobic nature to night and to day that Dawn doesn't have.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think my favorite is Dawn, but I still think Day is the best one. But whatever, it's all relative.
Day wins the best zombie makeup, best gore.
Yeah.
That's Savini's like masterpiece when it comes to effects.
Yeah,
it is 100%. I've heard many people. I think Greg Nicotero even said that it was his masterpiece, and he was there.
I mean, Greg Nicotero was a baby when that movie came out. And that was one of the first movies he worked on.
He even acted in it, kind of.
Yeah, when I did the Scream Factory Blu-ray, right before I did it, that was when Nicotero wrote me because he had stumbled upon my website somehow, and he wrote me and said he'd spent like an hour and a half on my site looking at my artwork. And wanted to, he was like really into Mondo. He discovered Mondo, so he's looking at all these artists, and he found me, and he wanted to hire me to do a poster. And I said, "Hey, I'm about to do the Dawn of the Dead or the Day of the Dead Blu-ray cover for Scream Factory." And he said, "Oh," he goes, "Well, let me know. I got like hundreds of Polaroids from behind the scenes if you need anything." I didn't want to bother him because he was just about to go off and direct the first episode of Walking Dead, whatever season it was on at that time. I don't know, third season or fourth season when he started directing. He was prepping to go direct the first episode of season 4 or something like that. So I didn't bother him and say, "Yeah, send me all those Polaroids." I guess I should have.
That would have been cool, man. That would have been real cool. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff online that you got like references for that, because that I've said it before and I'll say it again. That was the Scream Factory that got me wanting to get Scream Factories. Was the Day of the Dead. I saw it because I never really was happy with my DVD. It's okay, but actually I'm gonna grab it.
Go get it.
Yeah, I was never happy with this DVD, even though it's kind of a special one, Where
I had that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, you got Dr. Tongue, but like, I'm very particular about artwork, and we've talked about how yours is kind of a throwback to like a. Well, I've thought about it, kind of like a. What's his? I forgot his name. I'm having trouble remembering people's names. Drew Struzan type, But this is cool. I mean, I didn't get rid of it because hey, I'm Bub.
That's a good illustration of Bub too, right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine's really cluttered, but it worked somehow. But I just felt like the fans would want to see a bunch of zombies. Is there anything we haven't talked about with Dawn of the Dead?
Oh, Seth, is there anything you want to touch on before we start heading out?
Going back to favorite scene, I guess, or favorite scenes. I really liked after they cleaned up the whole mall and they're up on the balcony or the second floor and they're looking down. Just the music that's playing, it was just kind of very like, I don't know. I think it was a really cool scene. So I really like that, and like I said earlier in the show, I liked the reveal of Flyboy as a zombie or a ghoul, as Romero calls him, when the elevator doors open. But yeah,
that's a great reveal too.
We didn't mention how fucking amazing he is as a zombie.
Yeah,
I mentioning that. I said he was great.
Did you? Maybe that's when my phone fell. Maybe.
It might have been. Yeah, no, he was great. I don't know. Like I've tried to make my ankle go the way his ankle goes.
You're literally rolling your ankle every time you walk.
Right.
It's a terrible way to walk.
I feel like Romero told him to walk like a zombie, and he pulled that off. And he's got the gun hanging out of his finger.
Yeah, it's all those little details: the gun on his finger, the foot,
crazy.
And then yeah. I mean, Romero talked about that. He said, "Did you tell people how to walk?" He goes, "You can't do that. You just got to tell people to be dead, because if you show them how to do it, then you got everybody walking exactly the same way and doing the same thing, and it's just not interesting looking."
I got a Flyboy right here.
Yeah, I wish I had that figure, man. I want that figure.
Yeah. I got it whenever the movie came, or whenever it came out in 2004 or something like that. I don't know what happened to the base though. But yeah, I mean that was the best part about Flyboy. I think that's one of the reasons I like it, because I don't like his character for the most part through the movie. But yeah, I think
he's kind of a douche.
When the doors open up and it just you see the zombies at the doors and they open up and they're like, oh no, he's one of us. I really like that.
And then it's the whole great thing of his memory driving him down that hallway. Like that's the coolest thing where you're like, oh shit, he knows where the doorway is. He knows where the wall is. He's like chewing at the wall and trying to break through the wall to get to their hidden room.
The little fortress. Yeah. And his death, his true death, if you will. When he gets shot in the head, he does a really good job with that too. That was his best part of this movie, is when he became a zombie. It was everything about him that's memorable when he becomes a zombie.
In Roger's resurrection and death, or he's in bed and does that raise up, and you hear the news program and the arguing in the background. It's a really great put together. I mean, just everything about it. It's like you want to be at that mall for some reason. Again, it goes back to that. We, the audience, want to be in that mall. Echoing, the people want to be in that mall. Like, hey, they got a skating rink in that fucking place. So I mean, it's got all these things that I still want to go up there. I need to go to Monroeville Mall for it's taken down. Yeah.
Well, they don't tear malls down anymore. They just leave them abandoned. Apparently, there's a whole series on YouTube called the Abandoned Mall series. The guy goes to abandoned malls throughout the country, and they're completely just empty and overgrown with grass. It looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic type movie. Yeah, that's definitely a place. My brother-in-law got to go to the zombie days in Monroeville back in 2004, and he said it was just the best. They had a shop set up, and they had some of the actors there. He met what's his name? He played Rhodes.
Joe Polito.
Joe Pilato, whatever his name is. Yeah, you have to meet him there, and
I've met all the Dawn people except for
watch Dawn of the Dead.
Galen Ross. I haven't met her. I've met Peter. I've met Ken and Scott and David and.
Listen, I'm a wash of regret. They were all at Days of the Dead, 2017, whatever year it was. I think it was 2018 when Romero passed away. Because he was supposed to be there too, and for some reason I did not go meet any of those. Yeah, I did not go meet any of those people, and I should have. I think I was still nervous about meeting people at that point, but I got rid of that pretty fast. But anything else you guys want to touch? Seth, do you have anything else to come to mind?
No, not really. I mean, it's I guess I'll just give my final thoughts. It's it's a great movie, great. Follow up to Night of the Living Dead. And honestly, I love the first 4 of Romero's zombie movies pretty much equally. I know Land is not popular with some people, but I fucking adore that movie too. He was one of my favorite filmmakers. And I may say, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I think I like The Crazies more than Dawn of the Dead.
Whoa.
Ooh, that is very controversial.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, great. I like it. I don't know. Okay, before we do, we'll just do final thoughts. Do you like the 2004 Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Fine.
Zack Snyder.
Well, I mean, I got Zack Snyder on the brain with the Justice League coming out.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
Yeah, and we're talking about Dawn of the Dead. That's my first exposure to Zack Snyder was Dawn of the Dead. And I got to tell you, his commentary on Dawn of the Dead is fucking annoying. He calls everybody a rock star. He's like, "Hey, this is Zack Snyder. George Romero's a rock star. Yeah, this person's a rock star. Kai Pfeiffer's a rock star." I was like, "Shut the fuck up, dude." Because like when that DVD came out, all I wanted to do was watch. Because when DVDs were new, we were getting these things called commentaries that I'd never heard anything, and you get to hear these people talking about this stuff. And I was like, "Cool, I want to hear what this guy has to say about making Dawn of the Dead." I wanted to see if he talked about the old one and influences and stuff like that. No, he was too busy calling everybody a fucking rock star. I was like, God, I hate this guy, but I don't. I love Zack Snyder, so. But he was pretty annoying. He was calling everybody a rock star. Has anyone seen Zombie Lake? No, I have not.
I have.
Unless it goes under a different title, because if it's Italian, it's got like 30 titles.
I have seen Zombie Lake. Thank you, Scott. It's not a great movie, no.
How was Cannibal Apocalypse?
Cannibal Apocalypse actually was not a bad fucking movie.
He says Zombie Lake is a jiggle fest. What does that mean?
A lot of breasts.
I'll check that one out. Is it Italian?
Yes, I believe it is.
Oh, I'll have to see.
And Zombie Apocalypse was actually kind of a fun movie. I was expecting it to be terrible, but it's not a true like cannibal movie.
Yeah. John Saxon.
John Saxon is great as always. He takes his shirt off a couple of times. He has muscles. Like, it's not a terrible movie.
On the street.
Definitely.
Well, that's not the only Italian movie he's in either. He's in Tenebra. All right, let's Seth with his final thoughts. Jared, you go ahead and do your final thoughts. I got to watch BVS.
My turn?
Yeah, your turn.
Yeah. So Dawn of the Dead is one of those movies that you just have to watch.
Not wait 20 years.
I was telling somebody the other day, like I have like 5 movies that are literally interchangeable from my top favorite horror movie of all time. Dawn of the Dead's never going to leave my top 5. Neither is Jaws, or there's a couple of other movies that I don't really want to mention on this episode because that's for another episode. But there's a reason I wore out the VHS when I was in my teens. Same reason I wore out the VHS for Night of the Living Dead. Just something that George Romero does with his zombie movies is just, it's captivating. Like, he had something to say that wasn't just about a horror movie. He always had something that was political. He always had something that was larger than the movie that he was making. And that was one of the things, like Nate was alluding to, is like it was all about capitalism a lot of the time with Dawn of the Dead. Like, I don't know. I'm going to end with, I don't know.
Okay. I don't either. Nate, what about your final thoughts?
Thank you. Take it.
Yeah, I think I still think it's the best zombie movie. I think it's top 5 of the 1970s horror movies. I think it should be considered that, which is saying a lot for a decade as awesome as the 70s were. I don't know, like Seth was saying, I love George Romero. I really do. And watching, I'm sure most people have seen Document of the Dead. The documentary was made where they filmed at the set when they were making it. And just watching, I think it's
on my set.
It's on your set.
Yeah.
And it's on YouTube. If anyone doesn't have it, you can watch it on YouTube. But just listening to George talk about filmmaking and and listening to people who work with George.
Isn't he somebody you can just listen to for hours, Romero?
Oh yeah, like any of those guys, like him and John and Wes. I could listen to those three guys talk about filmmaking and horror all day long.
I'm not with you on Carpenter, but Wes for sure.
I watched the video of George and Don Coscarelli when they were promoting Dawn and Phantasm. I don't remember what show it was, but they were promoting it together, and they were talking about the genre. And George is just like when I met him, man, he's just such this cool, laid back guy, but he knows his shit. And it's not just about hearing George talk about filmmaking on that doc, but to hear the people who work on his team talk about George and working with George and what it's like to be, making that with him. Even though he is such an auteur, really, and someone who just did it all. He's writing, he's directing, he's editing, he's picking up the camera every once in a while. I mean, I don't think on Dawn he was shooting, but on Night he did. This is a guy that knows film, and there's just I can't think of a whole lot of people like him. And I just wish I had even more opportunity to talk to him or just pick his brain. Like so when I watch those interviews with him or like stuff on a talk show, it's like the closest I'll get to like having a conversation with this guy, because he was a fascinating person, and there's a reason why his fans they love him so much, because they do. Like, people adore George Romero.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd say. I'll always love this movie. That's it.
Okay. No, my computer is freaking out, so I don't know if you guys can hear me okay or not. The internet dropped out for a quick second. Yeah. I love Dawn of the Dead. I stayed away from it for about 12 years because it scared the hell out of me, and then I watched it at least 5 or 6 times a year. And I was thinking about what you said about being one of the best horror movies of the 70s, and I can sum up the best in 5 movies: Jaws, The Exorcist, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
those are the best 5.
The only one missing is Alien, maybe.
That's that's number 6.
Yeah.
I would also put Phantasm on the top 10. So.
Those are Phantasm.
I love Phantasm. Who doesn't love Phantasm?
Literally all those are interchangeable.
Those would be my top 5. Not in that order, but those are my top 5.
Literally all those are interchangeable.
Yeah, pretty much, because Jaws is one of the greatest movies, period, of all time. Dawn of the Dead is the greatest zombie movie of all time. Halloween's probably the greatest slasher of all time.
Yeah.
And then you got the greatest satanic panic movie of all time, and maybe the scariest movie of all time. And then you've got the most real movie of all time, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, those are 5 landmark movies all in one decade. So, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the 70s. And I love Dawn of the Dead, and I love George Romero, and I love Democracy. Suspiria, no.
Suspiria
is not even my favorite fucking Argento movie. It's in the top 10, but not top 5.
I even if you don't like it, it's like it belongs in the top 10 of the 70s.
I love Suspiria. Yeah. It's just not my favorite.
Suspiria is like it's his most popular movie. I mean,
absolutely. That's
doesn't matter.
Bring it up.
So that's why you got
it is.
It's not about what do you like. It's about what is like, because like I don't know. That's just what to me Suspiria. There's enough people who just worship that film.
Oh yeah,
to the point where that should be in the top 10 without
I'm gonna tell
question.
You. I'll tell you right now. Inferno is my favorite movie, and Profondo Rosso, Deep Red is his best movie. Jared, come on.
His Giallo, Profondo Rosso, Deep Red.
It's the best. It's his best movie.
It is really good.
We'll get into Argento. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Who did hang out with us and stuck with us to the end. We're going to talk more about. I guess are we talking about Day of the Dead next week for a full episode?
Sure.
Can we do it?
Yeah, it can be done.
Got my copy right here. Unfortunately, I don't have a slipcase somehow. That's what happens when you fucking order it from Amazon.
There's some pretty good features on that too.
Yeah, there is actually. There was one documentary on here. I think this is what you're talking about. It's an older one. Shit, where is it? Am I looking at the wrong one? Because there's a documentary from the 80s that's on here, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
There was a newer one that they did.
Yeah, The World's End. Yeah,
something like that.
it's a great. Plus, we know the guy who did the art. We're getting to look up his nose right now. So, Day of the Dead's next week. Anyway, I wish they would have released. I want to real fast. I love that this poster is like the Dawn of the Dead poster, and it's got it behind it. But I want to see this Night of the Living Dead poster. How come that's never been made? Nate, make it.
I'm pretty sure isn't that the original poster?
No,
it's not.
Because it's a moon. That's a moon right here.
No, that's one of the originals. You got night, dawn, and day.
Yeah,
but I've never seen this poster before. Does it exist?
That was the original. I believe so.
That was one of the original posters when the movie came out because the night is on top.
No, this is the original Day of the Dead poster.
Yes,
this is also the Dawn of the Dead poster. I'm talking about the Night of the Living Dead poster.
Oh, I don't think that exists.
I want to see that poster. I don't think it's ever been made.
I don't even know if that exists. I was going to say, I don't know if that exists.
I don't think it exists. I think Nathan Thomas Miller should do it. He could do it justice.
That's better out there.
Bullshit. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. I want to thank everybody again. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll talk some Day of the Dead. And you guys want to talk about the sequel, Contagion, or the 2 remakes? No? Okay, let's not do that.
What is happening?
Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Enjoy the Snyder Cut. I will.